Well, it is a pleasure to meet you. And I'm very thankful that you had the time and you put in the effort to have this interview with me.
I look forward to having it, and it's a pleasure for me to meet you as well.
Amazing. So let's begin.
Okay, let's do it.
Ed Sanchez's journey is marked by diverse experiences and a pioneering spirit. Originally from Colombia, his roots also include Cuba, Florida, New York, and Oregon. Early in his career, he worked as an engineer in Spain, where he contributed to the design and construction of nuclear power plants. In 1980, this path led him to Taiwan, where he identified a need for quality assurance services, ultimately founding ProQC 4 years later. Before his rise in the industry, Ed's first job in the US was delivering newspapers as a teenager. He later became the pioneer of the inspection business, being one of the first to establish a quality control company in Asia. Today, Ed travels extensively between ProQC global offices. And always up for a challenge, he embarked on a remarkable 17,000-kilometer road trip in 2015, driving from Stuttgart to Shanghai, covering 400 kilometers a day. Can you share the story behind the founding of ProQC and what inspired you to start the company?
It was 1980. I was working in design and construction of power plants. And I worked for this company in Spain, and they sent me to Taiwan. So in 1980, I'm in Taiwan at the beginning of the economical boom of Taiwan.
Nice.
And I had a 3-year contract, and I thought they needed quality. In China, Taiwan at that time, they needed quality, and I had a quality background. So I decided to take that opportunity and develop my own business. Yeah.
Well, now looking back at 1984, what would you say were like those initial challenges that you faced while opening up the company?
There were many. Language,
Right.
totally. I didn't speak any Chinese at that time, and English and Spanish. The customs, adjusting to the mentality of the Chinese, and the legal system in Taiwan was very complicated and difficult to understand. And you have to understand, in 1980, we were working with telex machines. You know what a telex machine is? So it was very archaic, very old. Technology was not there. There were no computers. So it was a very challenging time, right? But it was a lot of fun too at the same time.
That's nice.
I liked it.
So you had people that sort of helped you throughout the process and give you some guidance at this beginning.
Yeah, I had a couple of my employees that knew it, but most of my clients became Americans, so I had that side of it, the English, the relationship, the understanding. My first customer was a client that used to sell lighting fixtures to all the big companies in the United States. So I knew electricity, and so it was.
And you knew the English, so it was easy to communicate with the clients. Can you describe for me those early days at ProQC and how they differ from what the company is right now?
Wow, 40 years is a long time.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. At that time, we were basically just focused in Taiwan. At that time, China as a powerhouse did not exist. It was the little tigers, they call them. It was Taiwan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Thailand, and Korea. They were the little powerhouses of manufacturing. But we stayed in Taiwan. And Taiwan was a very small country, but it was a very big industrial park.
Yes.
You could go from one little alleyway and you would find a plastic injection, a cardboard maker. You would find everything in one block. So it was because of that, you were always running around. Traffic was horrendous.
Okay.
Now we're all over the world, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a big difference, right?
Now, reflecting on the 40 years of ProQC, what would you say was the most difficult period for the company? And how did you and your team manage to overcome those challenges?
It's funny, when I look back at those 40 years, we had some very, very difficult times. Like, once I read that every entrepreneur goes busted 3 times before he makes it.
Yeah.
And I laughed. I had never been busted. You know what? I realized that I had been busted so many times, I just refused to admit it.
It didn't count back then.
It didn't count. I didn't accept it, right? So that was difficult. We had a lot of expansions. We had a lot of law changes. But the most difficult time? Pandemic. When you really look at it, those 3 years were probably the most difficult to survive, not being able to travel, the sickness, I'm so proud that we managed to survive it.
Yes.
We didn't lose anybody. We kept all our employees. But that, to me, was the most difficult time in our 40 years life. Yeah.
This interview is being held in Cali, Colombia. And personally, I'm wondering, why was Cali chosen as the location for this milestone? And also, what inspired you to open up an office here in Colombia?
It's a very good question. Actually, I was born in Cali, Colombia, but my parents left here, and we left when I was 3 years old. We went to Cuba, we went to the U.S., I went to college in the U.S., then I worked in Spain. And then my mother got sick, and she had a stroke, and I brought her back to Colombia because she had 7 sisters. And I started coming back to Colombia after 40-some more years of not being here. And then I did something. I bought a piece of property that I gave to my mother. And when my mother passed away, she gave it back. And I didn't know what to do with this, so we decided to open a small office here to, not so much for sales, but to support. I thought Colombia IT is very strong, so we decided to open that office as a support center. And I like coming back home. And now we're using it more as a sales, more to develop the Latin American country, yeah?
What would you say are the most significant milestones that the company has achieved, and how has the company adapted to the changes?
Looking back, I think the biggest milestones were when we broke from Taiwan and expanded to mainland China. From there, we went to mainland China, then we went to India, we went to Korea, we went to Europe, and we kept on growing, right? We went to Germany in 2000, to United States in 2005. So from small little island, we expanded it to cover what we covered today, right?
Can you highlight for me any particular project or partnership that you were specifically super proud of?
I think was developing the European market, especially the German market. It took a lot of time, it took a lot of effort. Germany is a place that you need to have personal relationships. And that relationship, building those relationships. For example, I did a trip with one of my best German friends that I developed at that time from Stuttgart, Germany to Shanghai by car.
That's a lot.
42 days, 19,500 kilometers. I have a lot of friends in Germany, or in Europe in general. Right?
Okay.
But developing that market was a very rewarding experience for me.
What are some of the most significant trends that you've observed in the quality control and assurance industry over the years?
What quality measures continues to exist. Manufacturing has realized that quality systems is where we should focus on, and a lot of investment is going in creating quality systems. And this, of course, is with the addition of environmental and sustainability that is a growing challenges that we have in manufacturing.
How do you manage to keep ProQC resilient and adaptable in a consistently changing market?
By hiring resilient people. We're very, very proud of the mix of people, nationalities, and language. We once did a study of how many dialects and languages we spoke, and I was totally shocked by the amount of languages that we speak within our company. We're very diverse. We have from India, from Africa, from Colombia, from Mexico, from Japan. And that makes us who we are.
That's nice. It's a nice, big, multicultural family.
Multifamily that we think and we work together very well.
What legacy do you hope to leave behind as founder and CEO of ProQC International?
I grew this company threading needles and scraping whatever I could to the point that we have it today. My goal is that it continues to grow, and it's a place where the trustworthy and the passionate can continue to grow it and bring it forward.
What has been the most rewarding aspect of your journey at ProQC International?
Watching my people grow, watching their families grow, watching my staff, the way that we have developed from not being able to speak English to right now, you call any of my offices and everybody sounds like Americans. Yes, it's amazing how we have grown. But people, their children, their educations. We have people that were single when they started with us, and now their children are getting married. And I go like, my God, yes, it's amazing what has happened in 40 years. So I think that has been it. What we hope we have contributed to them, and what the company has contributed to me.
That's cute. And I'm sure that they're really thankful to you too.
I think so. I think this is why we have a very large group of people that have been with us for 15, 20 years, 30 years.
Wow.
So for a small company, we have maintained a very large family.
So what message would you like to convey to your employees and clients as you celebrate this milestone?
I like to say thank you. Thank you to all of you. It's been a great ride. It's been a great thing, and it's only because of my people, my clients, my friends, my employees. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. ProQC is not a company to me, it's a way of life. It has been my life for the last 40 years. So it's a very dear thing to my heart.
Oh. And what are you most excited about as you look forward into the next chapter of ProQC?
I know most people are going to expect me to say my retirement, but that's not coming. Okay, I think what I'm most excited about is I know the world is changing, and I know that my people will change. And I think the most exciting is see what we're going to become.
That's nice. You're prepared and ready for everything that's going to happen.
I am.
I love that.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to meet you, and I'm super thankful that you allowed me to interview you. I'm sure that your clients and your employees are going to love this interview as much as I did.
Thank you so much.